Yes, good evening, friends. Today we will be discussing about the introduction to political sociology and what actually political sociology actually means and how it actually defines itself and distinguishes itself from other subdisciplines of sociology. And today we will be discussing a lot about the introduction to political sociology. And in this exercise, we will be discussing about the concept, the nature, and the scope of political sociology. And of course, it has got a lot of political approaches to study the society and what are the various approaches that are included in political sociology we will be dealing today. Now we'll begin the exercise as a discipline of sociology, and as a subdiscipline of sociology, the political sociology means what? It simply means that it is the intersection between sociology and political science, as the title itself suggests, as the name itself suggests that the political sociology is the combination of political science and sociology. So, and why we are studying this subject? And you may get this doubt. So, what actually political sociology means all about? Why we are studying this subject? Precisely, why we are studying this subject, because this subdiscipline of sociology, that is political sociology, deals with you know the state, the political systems, and the intersection between the society and the political state. And we will be discussing a lot about these things in this class, that and how this in what way political science is differentiated, differs from political sociology, and how this political sociology in a way differs from political science we will be discussing today, friends. So political science bridges, as you know, that the fields of sociology and political science by addressing the issues of power and authority with a special emphasis on state and society. So that is the crux of the meaning of the political sociology. In other words, the political sociology addresses the issue or issues of power and authority with a focus on state and society. In other words, and how the interplay between the political society and the state and society interplays, and what are the connections between these two, and how the each phenomenon determines the other. In other words, that and how the state structure, the political state, you know affects on the social institutions, and how the social institutions actually in a way determines the political structure, and how this interplay actually happens between these two streams of domains. So this political sociology tries to explain this phenomenon of the dialogical, the relation between these two streams of domains. And uh, uh, the scope, I know we'll be discussing about the scope also in this exercise. This is precisely the scope of the discipline also includes what? It includes different types of organized groups in politics and interactions among them. And political sociology, precisely, it concentrates on the phenomenon of power and its related aspects. Its major areas, as I said, that so what are its major areas? What are the scope of political sociology? What it actually studies? It studies the state, it studies the citizenship, it studies the civil society, it studies the politics, it studies the pressure groups, and it studies the political movements, it studies the social movements, and so on. So this is the precisely what political sociology deals about. And the political system, So whenever we use the word politics and political system in political sociology, which means that this political system actually refers to the social institutions which relies on a recognized set of procedures for implementing and achieving, political goals of the community. So this political process analyzes that how the power, flows from the state as well as from the state to the, society to the state, and how the power actually plays between the, different individuals of this society, between the different, pressure groups of the society, and in other words, how this political sociology tries to argue, tries to emphasize, tries to analyze that why political power rests with only among the few groups, why political power is away from the disadvantaged groups. And this political sociology discourse actually tries to explain this phenomenon. Why subaltern groups, why weaker sections in society have very less power, and why the dominant sections of the society have more power, and who determines the state structure, and who determines the key decisions in the state structure actually explains by this the discipline of political sociology, friends. And in this exercise, and again we'll be dealing a lot of issues in this lecture, that uh, before this, let us understand, so the meaning of this political, sociology, and the definitional aspects of political sociology. In other words, that political sociology is a broader field between, as I said, it's a political science and sociology. It denotes the analysis of the interrelationship between the social and political, and the social structures and political institutions, and of course, the between the society and in the larger domain of the state. And it studies a lot of relations that actually emerges, that actually produces between these two, interactions, that is the state and the society, and how this institutions such as, social and political and the structures, political institutions, have a tremendous effect on the society as well as the state. So this political sociology tries to explain this phenomenon, you know, if, uh, as a discipline. As a discipline, this political sociology is at the intersection of sociology and political science, and it addresses the issues related to politics, issues related to, of course, and you may get this doubt that political science also deals with subject. However, this political sociology differs from the political science. In other words, a political science only deals with the state and the authority of the state, and politics and so on. But whereas the political sociology deals with the relation between the social structure and political structure, relations between the social structure and the state, and how the state actually plays a dominant role on the social stratification of the society, and how this social stratification affects the given state, given the nature of the state in a society. So this political sociology tries to explain this phenomenon in a very dialogical way, and how this dialectical relation actually shapes between the state and the state and the society, state and the social individuals, state and the social structure, and so on. So this political sociology tries to argue this phenomenon. Okay, and now we will be discussing about the meaning of political sociology, what it actually deals with, and what it actually emphasizes, and what it actually denotes. Let us understand this phenomenon. And once we have a clear understanding of the meaning of political sociology, we will be able to discuss the larger domains of political sociology. So let us go by the step by step. So in the first part of this understanding, the today's lecture, we will be discussing about the meaning of political sociology, what it actually means, and what are the various definitions have been given by the various political sociologists. Also, we will be discussing, and what from all the the definitions of political sociology, what are the special emphasis or significance that we have to take from those definitions. Also, we will be discussing. So let us understand the meaning of political sociology. The political scientist, friends, the political scientist is primarily concerned with the dimension of power and factors affecting its distribution, whereas the sociologist, that is the political sociologist, on the other hand, is more concerned with the social control, is more concerned with the way in which the values and the norms of a society regulate social relations. And it emphasizes on social ties. It emphasizes on not only on the formal structures, but also on the social ties and how the social relations are produced by the effect of the structures of the dominations of the political power, dominations of the state, the nature of the state, and how the social relations are produced, reproduced, distributed by the nature of the state, and how and in what way the nature of state plays a dominant role on these social relations between different individuals in society. So this is the precise meaning of that. And and as I said that this political sociology is a discipline that tries to understand political phenomenon by necessarily relating them to the social determinants. What I mean by social determinants? The social determinants here, that what are the social determinants of political power? But given the society of India, for example, when you take Indian society as a prime example of this tendency, what are the determinants of social determinants of political power? If one asks, and one may answer to this question in this way, that there are different determinants of political power. For example, in India, we have a caste dimension. The upper caste usually have a more political power, and the lower caste have very less power or no power at all. So this caste determines the key role in possessing the political power in Indian society. And we also have the society norms, cultural things, and we also have the economic conditions. And in other, the rich man will have a more access to the political power than the poor man. So in this case, the economic determines the access to political power. and and in other stances, and you have education, for example. Education also plays an important role in accessing political power. So these are all the economics, the education, the cultural factors, and so on. All these factors are nothing but the social determinants of political power. Those who have the best social determinants, they tend to have more political power. Those who have very less social determinants in accessing political power, they have very less political power. So in other words, this access to political power, access to state authority, is determined by the social determinants of power. So this political sociology tries to study the social determinants of political power. This is very clear. Unlike the political science doesn't deal with the aspect of social determinants at all, whereas the political sociology tries to understand the interplay between the social determinants of power and the access to political power with the vis-a-vis with the state and its apparatus, and how the state apparatus again plays a dominant role on the social determinants of power. So in a way, this political sociology tries to explain this phenomenon, tries to explain this, the relation between the two states of dominance. Uh, Thus, this political sociology seeks to understand the process of interaction between government and society. And it also studies the decision making authorities and conflicting social forces and interests. And it is the study of interactions. It is a study of social interactions. It is a study of social interactions and linkages between politics and society, between political system and the social, economic, and cultural environments of the given society. Thus, it is concerned with the problems regarding the management and conflict, the articulation of interest and issues of the pressure groups, and the issues that actually comes from out of the protest, social protest, political movements, so and the pressure groups, dissent, and so on. So it studies the what are the causes of conflict, for example. And you may find, friends, there are various and that moments that occur in the society. One prime example I can take, because since you're all familiar with the Telangana movement, for example. So what are the roots of the cause of the movement? And one of the issue is that the language factor, economic factor, political power issue, and so on. There are multiple issues that actually encouraged the growth of towards the growth of social movement and political movement, and that actually turned into a separate state of Telangana movement. And when you understand this, and the political sociology precisely goes into deeper level of analyzing the root causes of this protest. What are the reasons? Why people are coming to the streets? Why they are so angry in articulating their interest, and what they're demanding, and what they're demanding their shares, in the democratic setup, and and so on. So these are all the issues are studied by the political sociology. You understand? All the issues are studied by the political sociology, and how the the conflict happens, and why the conflict happens, and what are the root causes of the conflict, and all these issues are studied by the political sociology, and how this conflict is in a constant dialogue, or this conflict is in dialogue with the state, and how they bargain with the state, and how state bargains with the protest groups, and how the state bargains with the demands of the protest groups, and so on. This political sociology tries to explain this phenomenon, and why this happens, why this movement happens. You understand? So these are meaning, and there are, and the literature speaks out for itself, is that there are wide variety of definitions, that various scholars have given their best uh, in trying to give a defining meaning of the term concept political sociology. And of course, one may disagree and agree with those definitions, but certainly that as a student of sociology, which definition is best? Suppose if you ask me this question, I would say all definitions are best, because each definition tries to signify the sociological significance of the society and social structure and political society. So in a way, all those definitions are precisely important, but we have to study those definitions in the larger domain of society and state. Now, for example, we have a lot of definitions. For instance, we have a definition given by Robert and John, for example, and he says that he argues that political sociology is a study of political behavior within a sociological perspective of framework. And Michael and Philip, and in other sense, and they give a different meaning altogether. They say that what is political sociology? They say that it is the political sociology is the study of interactions and linkages between society and polity, between social structure and political structure, and between social behavior and political. I think this is a totality of understanding of political sociology. It covered various aspects in the 2 to 3 line sentence of the definition and meaning to political sociology. And whereas you have Smeltzer, for example, and he says that political sociology is the study of relationship between society and politics, between social structures and political institutions. This also covers a wide range of understanding of political sociology. Thus, it studies the political sociology basically and precisely. It studies the impact of society on politics and the substance of politics in the social form. I repeat it again. The political sociology, it studies the impact of society on politics and the substance of politics in a social realm. In other words, it studies the impact of society on politics. It studies the impact of politics on society, both. It studies the impact of politics on society. It studies the impact of society and politics. So, as I said that, it basically talks about, argues about the determinants of how the determinants of political power play a huge role in determining the access to political power. So that's the crux of the understanding of political sociology. And we will be discussing that there are various factors, and why you may get this doubt. We studied about the emergence of sociology, but now why we are studying about the political sociology. You may ask me this doubt that why political sociology came into picture, why actually emerged, and what are the reasons, what were the social context that actually encouraged for the growth of the emergence of political sociology. The basic reason is that precisely at the end of the World War II, this I think precisely 1940s onwards, there are various nation states that came into existence across the world. There are a lot of states that got independence. That includes our country, also India. And we also developed as a nation state, a democratic setup. And precisely when we talk about Indian state, and after independence, what we actually did, was we created the Indian Constitution. We wrote the Indian Constitution. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and others, and who immensely contributed for the emergence of Indian Constitution in India. They gave a lot of ideas about the citizenship and the access to power, reservations, and so on. Now, after having this political setup in the society, there is an emergence of the state. The emergence of state, not only in India, but also across various parts of the world, that there is an emergence of nation states, and out of that, there is an emergence of political state. And in here also, we have Indian state, the Indian government, isn't it? So after the formation of this thing, so everyone thought that this political science will be dealing with this subject, because political science by nature itself, it studies the impact of society, it studies the political behavior of the state. It studies how this political behavior plays an important role on the citizens, and so on. This is the major role of the political science. But what happened was, this political science, it failed to explain few phenomena. The political science only limited to the explanations of the political structure of the state. It studies about the laws, it studies about the bureaucracy, it studied about the importance of political power, voting, and etc., etc., etc. But it failed to address the few important aspects of this society and how this political structure have a tremendous effect and impact on the society. It failed to explain this phenomenon and how this society influences the formation of the state in the larger domain. Also, it failed to explain. Thus, the sociologists thought that no, this is in this way we cannot explain the interplay between the society and the state. They thought that there is some problem with the political science subject alone, because given the scope and nature of the political science, it could not address few aspects of the distribution of power of the state and how it affects on the society. Thus, the sociologists thought that no, we need to have a create a different discipline altogether. That is called the sub-discipline of sociology. That is political sociology. They thought that with this sub-discipline of sociology, that is political sociology, they thought that they have a clear understanding of this, political sociology. And what they emphasize that this political sociology, it studies not only the state, it also studies and how the state impacts on the social behavior of the society and how the social behavior of the society impacts the formation of the state. It also studies why people have very less power, why there is an unequal distribution of political power, and what are the reasons, and why people are coming outside into the streets, and why people are going for a protest. And all these issues, social issues, are dealt by the political sociologists. They thought that we need to have our own political sociology. We need to have our own political streams of thought. And so that we can deal with the society, we can explain the society and the formation of state on the state on the and the effects of the state on the society, and how the society actually bargains with the state, and how the social behavior of the state society affects promotes towards the formation of the nature of the state. And this all these issues are actually covered by the political sociologists. So in this way, this after the Second World War, that there was an emergence of political sociology, not just political sociology, and we have, for instance, economic sociology is there. We have environmental sociology is there, but we have different sets of sociological approaches have came into existence, precisely because this all the explanations were not only on the macro sociological structures, but also the lot of this subdisciplines actually emerged to study the micro sociological, the structures of the society. In a way, this even the political sociology also came into existence to study the effects of the state on the society, to study the effects of the state on the society, and effects of the society on the state. So this is the clear understanding. How this dialectical, the shape, how these dialectical relations actually plays an important role between the society and the political structure. Okay, so this is the clear understanding of why this political sociology actually came into existence. And this political sociology, however, has not emerged by chance. There were two major grounds for its emergence. The most important thing, was there was a growing displeasure. As I said, that there was a growing displeasure, discomfort, dissatisfaction among the nature of the, with the nature of the traditional science, traditional political science. They thought that, there were, two reasons, why this disappointment actually came, emerged from the sociologists. Is basically that this so the this political science, it can't study the effects of political structures on the society, and it fails to address the interactions between the social society vis-a-vis with the political structure of the state. Thus, the emergence of sociology came into existence to address this crisis. To address this crisis, you understand? So this is the basic understanding of why the political sociology came into existence. What were the reasons? The reason is this very clear, that the political sociology that came into existence to develop the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach within the social sciences precisely, and more precisely within the discipline of sociology, to understand the interplay between the social relations between the state and the society. Okay. uh, uh, as I said that, this sociology, it studies about the society. It deals with the formal and the informal relations of the society, and it examines the pattern and operation of interactive social relations, that look into the working of social institutions, and it also studies, and it also evaluates the 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 distribution of social power, social and social progress among the different social groups in the society. Thus, this so thus this political sociology, argue that the state is not just one of many clusters of social institutions, and the relation between the political institutions and other institutions is the special province of political sociology. I repeat this again. Let me explain this. Political sociology believes and argues that the formation of the state is not just a single entity. It argues that the formation of the state is the cluster of many layers of social stratification. In other words, the formation of the state is a reflection of the layers and stratas of social stratification, and how this social stratification, with this unequal distributions of power, be it in economic, be it in cultural power, be it in cultural culture, economic and social, affects or gives rise to the formation of the state. In other words, the formation of state is a reflection of social structure. Political sociology argues that the formation of the state is the reflection of the given social relations of this social structure, social stratification, and how the formation of this state again reproduces the relations of unequal distributions of political power in the given social structure and social stratification. It studies this both. It studies the both the cause and effect of the given social power, social relations in society. This political sociology, as a theoretical concept and theoretical and methodological discourse, is an actually attempt to bridge the gap, to bridge the crisis that is existing between the political science and sociology. So, what it actually does with its analysis about society and political structure and the state, it tries to address the crisis between the political science and sociology. Therefore, this political sociologist, they study the political behavior with the lens of sociological perspective. I repeat, the political sociologist They study the political behavior with the lens of, or rather with the approaches of, sociological perspectives. Understand? So this is the basic crux of this thing. In other words, it not only studies or not only explains of the working of politics in relation to the society, but also examines that the response to the exercise of power by the state and its government by the social groups and pressure groups in the society, and how they argue with the state, how these pressure groups, how the weaker sections, how the various protest movements actually argue with the imposition of the state power, and what were the demands, why the protest comes, why the dissent comes. So all these issues were actually modestly addressed by the political sociology discourse. You understand? You understand? So this is the main meaning of the political sociology, and why the political sociology as a discipline came into being, came into existence, right? So, uh, and after this, what we'll be studying is the nature and scope of political sociology. Nature and scope of political sociology. What is nature? What is nature means what it actually studies. As I said, that the political sociology studies the about the state and its impact on the society, and how the society again determines the formation of the state in the larger domain. It also studies both. That is the nature of political sociology. That is the nature of political sociology. Understand? So the next point we'll be discussing is that the development of political. This is the emergence of political sociology. So what actually development of political sociology and how it actually developed from one point to the another. In fact, if you can just you study the Max Weber theories, and you can study the Karl Marx theory, Agus Comte, for example, Emile Durkheim, and all these theories, those theories have a political dimension. They also studied in fact they also played a huge role towards the development of political sociology discipline. Particularly, for example, the most important significant contribution to political sociology was actually made by the German sociologist, as you all know, that Max Weber, and who made power as the focal point in analyzing the society. And he laid the foundations to, and in fact, he's one of the key persons and who actually laid the foundations to political sociology. And his ideas regarding particularly that we discussed various types of authority, various forms of authority, and what are the various forms of authority that actually existed in society. And he used the concepts of, for instance, the ideal type of bureaucracy, and the concepts of status and party as supplements to that of class. And he discussed a lot of ideas. And in all these ideas, he actually understood, and he actually analyzed the social phenomenon through the lens of political sociology. In a way, we can say that one of the founders and one of the key roles, for the emergence of political sociology, and no doubt, without any second thought, one can say that it's a contribution of a German sociologist, Max Weber. And also we have Emile Durkheim, for example, and we will be also dealing with the approaches of Karl Marx, for example. So he also discussed a lot about the unequal distributions of political power in society, and how the dominant class and the ruling class and use exercises the political power over the weak, and how they maximize the profit through the process of exploitation, and so on. We'll be discussing a lot about the Karl Marx in this class. This all this the development of political sociology actually began with the founders of sociology, that is Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, August Comte, and so on. So all this, in all these approaches, one can see the visions of political sociology in their approaches towards analyzing of society and social structures over the social individuals and so on. Uh, thus, the at the broadest level, the political sociology is concerned with the relation between the politics and society, and its distinctive nature within the social sciences lies in its acknowledgement that political actors, including parties, pressure groups, and social movements, operate within the wider social context. In other words, as I said, this political sociology acknowledges that the political actors. And who are the political actors? And you may get that this doubt. And the political actors are nothing but the people, the citizens, and who actually play a dominant role in the movements and who actually participates. All these are political factors, and how they bargain their interest and on the behalf of the group, and how they bargain with the state about the access to political power, and how they bargain with the state about the access to economic power, and so on. So all these things are the political actors only. So this how these political parties, political actors, they play a huge role in determining the bargaining capacity of the pressure groups vis-a-vis with the interaction through a dialogical as well as the dialectical relationship between the state, and all these factors and forces is studied by the political sociology, isn't it? It follows from this that a key concept in political sociology is power, right? So we are all discussing about power, right? How this power is unequally distributed in society, and why only few people have more power, and why only more people have less power. So all this, I have, this unanswered questions tries to make a plank for answering, those questions, by the political sociology discipline, isn't it? So, as I said, that political sociology key concept is power, and where power is defined as the capacity to achieve one's objectives, even when those objectives are in conflict. That's an important point. Where those objects are in conflict, as the capacity, with the other clash interest of the given social subject. In other words, I repeat this point again. It follows from this point that a key concept in political sociology is power, where power is defined as the capacity to achieve one's objectives, even when those objectives are in conflict with the interest of another actor. Right? This political sociologist, therefore, invariably, this political sociologist, therefore, invariably tries to attempt to a major question that why individuals and groups in society possess the capacity to pursue their interest, and how is the power exercised, and how the power is gets institutionalized, and how the power is legalized. You know, all these questions are attempted by the political sociology discipline in trying to answer to various this sort of questions. Okay, and now we'll be discussing about the scope of sociology. What is the scope? You can ask. The scope is nothing but the boundary. It can't study, the political sociology can't study everything, right? So it has its own limitations. It has its own boundaries, and it has its own remarkation of those boundaries, and it stays within, and it talks about the social structure. isn't it? So that boundary is what? Where it draws its own boundary in analyzing the power distribution, in analyzing the state power, in analyzing the formation of state, in analyzing the social movements, in analyzing the occurrence of protest, and so on. Right? So, what is its scope of sociology? The scope of sociology is actually about the political sociology is the political sociology is concerned with the structure of the state and the nature and conditions of legitimacy and the nature and conditions of institutionalization of those power. It studies that aspect in a nutshell. In other words, for example, you may see that now elections are approaching, right? So suppose when you take this election as a process, political power process, and how this political sociology actually studies, right? The discipline is concerned, for instance, the discipline is concerned with why and how an individual's vote is influenced by public opinion. And there are a lot of exit polls. There are a lot of, that huge hangama that actually takes place in the media before the elections and, of course, after the elections. And how this voting behavior is actually influenced to the formation of government. Whether the voter is happy with the current government or is unhappy with the current government. If he is unhappy with the current government, and how capacity does he have or she has uh, in determining the formation of state. That's called voter behavior. When voter behavior can change the government with the legitimate the power of a citizen, that is vote power. And how, and all these issues are covered by the scope of political sociology, isn't it? And the scope of the discipline includes the different types of organized groups in politics and the interactions that takes place between those social individuals, and how the influences of various political systems uh, you know take that have been taking place on the voters, and how these voters again they influences the formation of political system in the state, and so on. So all these things are studied by the political sociology. That is the scope of political sociology, isn't it? And uh, this the scope of political sociology, it stresses on the study of the major structures of the government. But what are its the boundaries? When we say about government, it means what? That it covers legislature, it covers administrative agencies, it covers judiciary, it covers all the structure of the political aspects, such as, for example, not only the state but also other political structures. For example, caste groups we have, right? Kinship groups we have, and we have formal organizations such as parties and interest groups, and how they actually bargain with each other, and how they bargain with the larger domain of the state. So all these issues are covered by the studied by the political sociology. Therefore, again I repeat, this political sociology concentrates on the phenomenon of power and its related aspects, isn't it? So the study of the political processes is the domain of the political sociology, where it actually refers to the study of the political process activities that undergoes and explains the propensities of the in the society, that give rise to the formation of political system, isn't it? So therefore, the political sociology covers social stratification. As I mentioned, that this political sociology covers and studies, analyzes on the topic of social stratification. It studies different social stratification systems, such as I said, that what actually social stratification means. The social stratification means that it constitutes of the class, it constitutes of the caste, it constitutes of the gender, it constitutes of the status, it constitutes of other social phenomenon that actually play a huge role in the formation of or towards the formation of social structure in a given society, isn't it? And how this social stratification have an impact on the organized state, and how this organized state have an impact on the social stratification. The political sociology tries to understand this both phenomenon. Thus, this political sociology analyzes the political dynamics. That includes the political parties, pressure groups, interest groups, public opinion, and propaganda that influences and manipulate the attitude and political behavior of the individuals. Right? So this is the meaning of political sociology. This is the scope of the political sociology. This is the nature of the political sociology. Right? So uh, what the the significance of, as I said, that this is the major significance of social political sociology, that the one of the important items of the importance of political sociology is it concerned about the contemporary situations. It concerned about the ongoing situations. It is not merely studying about the past, the formation of the state and the political systems of the past, but it studies it studies the contemporary situations. It studies the ongoing social protest. It studies the ongoing social disturbances. It studies the ongoing effects of the state on the behavior of the individuals, right? So thus this political sociology is important in a way that it discusses the contemporary situations, and it actually provided a new paradigm of thinking, right? This political sociology focuses on the different approaches and the different movements on the third world countries. For example, in the third world countries like India, we have a different social movements. What not? We have a caste movement, for example. We have environment movement. We have a reservations movement, for example. We have a movement, regional movement that seeks for a separate state, that actually most of us witnessed during the formation of the Telangana state. So all these are contemporary social movements. For instance, we have a women's movement, gender movements, and women movements are actually seeking their share for gender, share in the political stratum. Right? There are a lot of feminist groups are coming into the streets and are asking for their share in the social structure. They seek a equality, right? They seek a liberty, right? So they question the social structure, the dominance of social structure on the woman and the girl child. All these are movements. All these are social movements. Those are all contemporary movements. These contemporary movements are actually studied by the political sociology, isn't it? These are all this the and how the power is unequally distributed among the different groups, and why few groups possess more political power, and why many groups are possess very less power. All these issues are contemporary movements, are actually addressed by the discipline of political sociology, isn't it? Uh, thus, this contemporary political sociology discusses economic, political, and cultural aspects of globalization, for instance. And you may have studied and you have seen that this after 1990s there was an era of globalization. There was an era of LPG, that there's a liberalization, privatization, and globalization of the resources. Right? There is an entry of capital into the larger domains of society, right? And how the state actually gives its way for the emergence of private capital in the society, and what are the state actually plays a major role in coordinating between the capital and the society, right? So few pressure groups are actually protesting against this move, and because the formation of industries is a result which is a results to the the loss of land in a given area. So locals are protesting for protection and seeking their bargain, seeking their share in the ongoing protest across various parts of India, right? So all these contemporary movements are actually addressed by the political sociology discipline, isn't it? Thus, this political sociology is concerned with the play of power and politics across societies rather than the relations between simply state and society. And in fact, it provides a larger picture of society given the context of India, for instance. This is the product of the growing complexity of social relations, the impact of social movement, and the relative weakening of the state as a result of globalization, and how state is becoming weak with the entry of capital, and how with the entry of capital how the state is becoming strong, and when it comes to the imposition of their political power and the exercise of their legitimate political power on the weaker sections in suppressing their interest and protest. All these issues are studied by the political sociology. Thus, the political sociology attempts to explore the dynamics, right, between the between the political system of the given society as well as the social stratification on the other side, right? It questions the domination of the political sphere by the economic elite, and it studies that how the distribution of political power is done among the different social groups in society, and how those political power is determined by the economy and social interest of the given the multiplicity of social divisions and political agendas in societies like India. Therefore, this is the main meaning of political sociology. And in the next class, we'll be discussing a lot about the approaches to the studying the various, the political sociology. And in that exercise, we will be studying the various theories that concerned, that talk, that explained about the discipline of political sociology in comprehending the dynamics of social world, right? So with this we will end this class, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you.